Hello there everyone, welcome back to a brand new Red Dwarf series review. Today I'm going to review series 6 of Red Dwarf that obviously aired between October and November 1993. It starred Chris Berry as Arno Rimmer, Greg Charles as davelister, Danny John Jules as Cat, and Robert Llewellyn as Crichton. Red Dwarf is stolen by entities or life forms unknown, and the crew is forced to give chase in the Starbug. Obviously this is a vehicle that appeared quite frequently throughout the series as well. So now they are actually stuck in the Starbug and need to find a Red Dwarf which was stolen by entities or creatures that, it doesn't really explain why, but obviously the Red Dwarf is just gone together with Holly. So there we go. Obviously, very interesting. Encountering more adventures with homicidal simulants, an urban gestal entity, gunslinging computer viri or virus or whatever, alluring and stomach churning gelfs, and a world full of rimmers along the way. This was the first series to establish an ongoing story arc, the search for that dwarf, which would be continued through to its conclusion at the end of the next series and be the basis of the events in the one after that, so season 8 obviously. It also ends with one of the most notorious cliffhangers in the show's history, the crew's showdown with their future selves. A couple of these episodes I actually watched when I was on vacation to, I think it was England, so yeah, fair enough, it was Cornwall. Yeah, 2 years ago I went to Cornwall and I watched a couple of Red Dwarf episodes. That's where I actually fell in love with it. So yeah, alright, I watched a couple of season 6 episodes as well because I remember them quite well. So there we go. Alright, let's talk about Sirens, which aired on the 7th of October 1993. Desperate to gain ground on Red Dwarf, the boys from the Dwarf try to go through an asteroid belt, but find that it is inhabited by Sirens, strange gelf creatures that use mind control to lure their victims and then suck out their brains. So there we go. Obviously the Sirens are based off like mythology sirens, right? Obviously sailors come across them in the ocean, and yes, I guess the boys from the Dwarf are kind of like sailors getting stuck with these sirens, right? So there we go, very interesting. The next one is Legion. The crew find an abandoned research station with only one inhabitant, an entity known as Legion, whose charm and hospitality hide terrible secrets. This episode aired on the 14th of October 1993. Alright, the next one is, the third one is one of my favorite ones from the season, and that's the Gunmen of the Apocalypse. Obviously this aired on the 21st of October 1993. In order to fight a simulant-made computer virus, the crew enters a Wild West computer game to assist Crichton's attempt to fight off viral gunslingers and save the ship. Alright, the fourth episode is Emo Hawk / Polymorph 2, or the second episode of Polymorph. Obviously, this aired on the 28th of October 1993. After escaping a forced wedding with a gelf, the crew is stalked with a new polymorph called Emo Hawk, which is interesting. A terrifying creature that unwittingly unleashes the universe's most uncool guy and the greatest hero in the galaxy. Oh my, what a guy.
What a guy.
Obviously, Arnold Rimmer is back as acerimmer. Holy shit, it was so great to see him return as like a little, I would say, accent change. Obviously, Rimmer and Cat get obviously depowered, and obviously Cat becomes the universe's most uncool guy, and Rimmer becomes the greatest hero in the galaxy, aka acerimmer again. So yes, I mean, yeah, very, very nice. Obviously, the fifth episode is was aired on the 4th of November 1993, and it's called the Rimmer World. Arnold Rimmer is stranded on a deserted planet alone for 600 years after falling through a wormhole. When the rest of the crew comes to rescue him, they find the planet has been completely taken over by Rimmer clones. So yeah, the Clone Wars before it was the Clone Wars, I guess. Yeah, Rimmer World. It was also a really fun episode. I still really remember this episode quite well. And together with, I think it was Legion, and the next one, the last one, Out of Time, are those episodes that I quickly watched when I was on vacation there in England. So there we go. Alright, there we go. Yes, Rimmer World is fascinating, and tons of rimmers are on one planet, and you already know that something is going to go wrong, because a planet full of rimmers is never a good sign. So there you go. And the 6th episode, Out of Time, aired on the 11th of November 1993. After fitting Starbuck with a time drive, the crew encounters a future version of themselves, which includes a fat rimmer, a bald cat, and Lister's brain in a jar, complete with attached dreadlocks. So that is really, really interesting. Obviously, yeah, Out of Time had the most notorious cliffhanger of the entire series, I suppose, where Starbuck gets blown up, and we don't know what has happened to the crew. But obviously, in season 7, that will be explained, obviously, in the first episode, I believe, as well. So there you go. This series was deliberately written with a higher rate of gags, inspired by cheers with robgrant and dougnaylor watched while working on the failed Red Dwarf USA project. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I could make a separate video on that eventually too, but the Red Dwarf USA project was a total miscalculation of them. So yeah, that didn't work out. This also proved to be the last Red Dwarf series co-written by Grant, as he decides to part ways with the show, and obviously his co-writer, right? So there we go. Following the effort, also leading to separate sequels from the two to the novel Better Than Life, though both took the setting of Starbuck from episode or season 6. So that's interesting, obviously. Writing and production of series 6 was rushed compared to other series, as the BBC wished to air in among the spring/summer schedule. As a result, Grant and Naylor had to abandon their plans to direct the series, and instead the show was helmed by Andy de Emoni, I think. It was decided prior to the production of the series to write out Holly, since her two characteristics of stupidity and delivering exposition had mostly been moved to Kat and Crichton anyway, leading to her involvement in the plot already having reduced significantly during series 5. The decision to set the show entirely on Starbuck was made as a desire of Grant and Naylor's to have a more action-oriented show, as well as allowing them to quickly and easily write out Holly as well. The move to set the show entirely on Starbuck was originally controversial among the fan community, despite the high amount of Starbuck sequences already in the previous series, although opinion has mostly normalized around the series compared to series 7 onwards. So there we go. The series saw Rimmer being given a hard light beam, which also saw him having a change in costume as well. So obviously now Rimmer can touch things and actually come in contact with other beings. So that's really, really interesting as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me today, ladies and gentlemen. This was a really interesting season, and yet another great season in the Red Dwarf and Red Dwarf in general. In my opinion, I think I prefer the first 3 seasons. But obviously, little by little, we're getting there. We're getting introduced to the bigger Red Dwarf universe. And obviously, I can't say no to more Red Dwarf, right? It's really sad that there are only 2 more seasons left to go in my entire, collection that I have here and that I bought for my 19th birthday. So yeah, we've been watching along and saw some great episodes in my opinion. I think Red Dwarf is so underrated. It's a shame for the views, because my views don't really do well on Red Dwarf. But look, I can only point out the facts, right? It's still a great series overall. And I think a lot of people should watch it. A lot more people should watch it, actually, because it's so much fun. And there are some gags in this season that I thought were pretty alright, but also some that I didn't really like Crichton and Rimmer always had like some kind of banter between one another with with this space code XXX whatever, and Crichton always says something, well, that's the wrong code, sir, that's actually the code for doing something completely different and completely stupid. And they also kind of had that joke, and I watched an interview there with the actor who played obviously Rimmer, and he kind of liked it because Crichton and Rimmer, I think was more like banter and making jokes, but you saw from a mile away that they were going to do that. And obviously when I think in every episode there's kind of like a joke like that. When it came, I was like, oh boy, here we go again. But yeah, sure, it has a certain charm, but I wasn't really there for it.
Ergo, we surrender. And they were ready for anything. Step up to red alert.
Sir, are you absolutely sure? It does mean changing the bulb.
The Fab
You're forgetting about Space Tour Directive 1742. May I remind you of Space Tour Directive 34124, article number 39436175880932-B. Well, I thought it was a great idea for running gag, actually. Because you knew it's one of those things where the audience eventually knew, you know, Space Tour Directive. You knew there was a big gag coming from Crichton eventually. I think you're thinking of Space Tour Directive, and he would go on. And the numbers were generally non-digital things, you could make them up. That's it. I'm invoking Space Tour Directive 68250. 68250? But sorry, that's impossible without at least one live chicken and a rabbi. The first series I did in Series 3, I was still...
But, you know, whatever, sometimes Crichton would just say random things, and I would kind of dig that. So, yeah, it was a bit of an obvious joke, in my opinion, but whatever. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I can't wait to watch Season 7. Can't wait to see where the boys of the Dwarf will go next. And I will check you later. Goodbye, everyone.
Once in a galaxy far, far away, you think you can have cold curry sauce for breakfast? That's like some barely human, grossed-out slime ball.
No, it's all flooding back, is it, sir?
In the face of danger, they were fearless.
Boarding this vessel is an act of war, ergo we surrender.
And they were ready for anything.
Step up to red alert. Sir, are you absolutely sure? It does mean changing the bulb.
The Fab Four find themselves back in deep space and deep trouble in the new series of Red Dwarf, Thursday at 9 on BBC Two.